Good evening and welcome. Welcome to my live stream, How to Fight CPS and Get Your Children and Keep Your Children. I'm Bob Pace. I'm your host, and I'm so glad you found us. Now, you probably found me through one of the 7 Facebook pages that I have on there. Is links it to this site. There's also one YouTube. Now, I'm broadcasting this live on YouTube. StreamYard is the application I'm using. Now, I'm here to talk about something called CPS, which translates to the Child Protection System. Now, there's many names for it, and one of the most common name is CPS, Child Protection Services. But I use Child Protection System, meaning any government entity that protects our children from neglect and abuse. Now, in the United States, it was an act of Congress in the 60s that directed social services, which is a government agency that gives out food and clothing and all kinds of things, um, to take care of our children, protect them from neglect and abuse. Now, this is a live stream worldwide, and I have also 30 countries I talk to besides every state in the union. So that is a lot of places. So over 2,600 people I've talked to over 2 years. I've been started in October of 2023. Now it was continuous and took a little time off in December and January and came back the latter part of February. And it was very good to deal with all you people that either call in or type me a question or a comment on this live stream. Now, this live stream involves 2 parts. StreamYard is a software application that I use on my computer. Vonage is the application I use to take phone calls and stuff. Hold on one moment, please. Hold on. Okay, you just saw what the problem is. When I do the phone, take a phone call, or I want to keep talking on StreamYard, it will freeze up and stop StreamYard, and when I take the call. So I do apologize. I do apologize. It'll stop the call. Anyway, um, that tells you a little bit about the mechanics. Hopefully, the computer part will be in because I don't have my computer operational, and I ordered it. It's supposed to take nine. What does it says? 5 to 9 business days, and it was ordered 2 Fridays ago. So hopefully, it'll be here any minute here. Now, I'm hoping that people will come into this room. This live stream is also posted on YouTube Reels. It's also in the library, so it is accessible for people to see this particular show in another day. Now, it's really beneficial to a lot of you because you guys are searching for help, and maybe you haven't thought about an attorney, or you did think about attorney, you know it's too much money, or you need some help. On this show for an hour, I'm going to give you my time, no charge to you. Complimentary of Vincent W. Davis. He's hoping one of you or several of you may want to hire him. And so, with that being said, I want to give you the number of my office. Down at the bottom, it tells you this is for education purposes. The number of the office for Vincent W. Davis is 888-888-6582. And he will help you. He will help you. And I'll explain to more what to look for in an attorney. All right, we got some people in the room. Welcome to you, people. I just got an email from Jennifer Stewart from Scotland. She had talked the first couple of days this past week, texting messages. She hasn't talked to me on the phone yet because there's no way I could talk to her and do SteamYard at the same time. But she has another problem. She's pregnant. When Jennifer was on the show, and excuse me, Heather, I'm sorry, when Heather was on the show, she had her 2 kids taken, and now she's worried they may take her because she hasn't had her baby yet and she's pregnant. That is a common thing. That's a common thing you got to be careful about. That's a real common thing. Whoops, I lost the picture for a second. That's a common thing that you have to be careful about is that if you're pregnant and you're in CPS's things, you're not supposed to get pregnant. Now, it depends on when your pregnancy occurred. If you were pregnant before your kids were taken from you, then you have no control over that. And also, furthermore, you shouldn't have your children taken away from you if you're not in imminent danger. Now, Vincent Davis and has shows on the reels, just like I do. He's the attorney. You can see him, and he gives excellent advice about taking away children, about your court order, about getting an attorney. There's so much stuff that he does. And again, it's free on the Facebook Reels. And you can learn so much. Because in order to take a child away, there has to be imminent danger. Now, there's 2 types of areas that they try to protect children. One is a neglect, and the other one is abuse. And abuse is further divided into physical abuse and mental abuse. Now, neglect is things like you left a child unsupervised. You don't take the child to the doctor when they need the doctors. You don't dress the child correctly. It's 40 degrees and you got nothing but a bathing suit on. And so there are 2 types of reporters that will investigate this. And hello there, Candy Diaz. I think you've been on before, Candy, and where are you from? For all you listeners out there, make sure you give me your name and your location, your city and state, or if you're from another country, your city and country. So welcome, Candy, and I hope you ask me some questions. Also, before I forget, the rules in this room are simple. Respect one another, no profanity, and respect one another, no profanity, and there's no politics. Okay, that's all I ask. We're here to talk about CPS, the Child Protection System, and I'm talking about negligence and abuse, and the types of negligence I was mentioning was the wearing not the adequate clothing, not taking a shower when you were dirty. Let me see what else I'm thinking of. The neglect. You're unsupervised. You're left alone in the yard, and you're a young child. And I hate to say it, some areas they got mountain lions and eagles that'll come down and grab your child or haul away your child. You got to be careful of these elements. These animals were here before the people were, and as people build and go further expanded into their terrain, it displaces them, but they still come back searching for food. And a small child is easy prey for an eagle or a mountain lion. And those are common things in the United States. Now, if you live near bears, you got to worry about bears. If you're in Africa, you got to worry about lions and alligators. What's that saying? Oh my, lions and tigers, oh my. Anywhere you live, you got to worry about animals. So you need to have protection supervision. Now, a lot of these things are common things. And I know that we've been fighting CPS. Well, I shouldn't say we've been fighting CPS, but I've been fighting CPS now for 15 years. It started approximately between 2010 and 2015. And right now it's been about 15 years. That's a long time. And you're probably wondering, why am I fighting? Well, the agency has turned sour. It's been sour the last 15 years or greater. What I mean by that is they lie, they cheat, and they take away your children. Not supposed to. Yes, well, those are lay people. Those are lay people, Candy. Where you from, Candy, by the way? Where you from? Um, the reporters, as I say, are lay people and professionals. And the lay people get it right about 25% of the time. They're 75% wrong. And there are a lot of times they use it as a vendetta against a family member, whatever. Lay people are lay people, siblings, neighbor up the street. It could be the grocery clerk, the hairdresser, the guy at the gas station. Those are lay people, and they don't have the knowledge or the expertise. And sometimes, I hate to say it, they use it as a revengeful against someone. A lot of revenge, and it's corrupt. And they get it right about 25% of the time. But there's a lot of cases where it's really bad. Now, the professionals are like your nurse and your doctor, or in the school area, aside from the hospital, is your administrators, your counselors, your teachers, your nurse. And then there's also the caregivers and the police and the fire. These are all professional people. Anybody that works with children has to take a class in CPS and learn how to recognize negligence and abuse and further know how to report it. Well, these professionals get it right maybe 50% of the time. 50% is wrong. And I've seen that happen today. Someone had it wrong too, where a professional had misjudged a person and did terrible things to the family. I hear stories because I talked to over 2,600 people from around the world, 30 countries in all 50 states. One thing they all have in common, they encountered a bad CPS and a bad police. Now, police are brought into the picture to supposedly protect the social workers. They're not supposed to be enforcers of CPS's codes or whatever it is, but they sometimes do a lot of the dirty work, and they are very intimidating. If you see a policeman come up to you, he's in his full battle fatigue and combat boots and armor piercing chest and wears guns, and very intimidating. And that's why CPS calls the police out, not to protect them, but to show an image. And they sometimes went over their boundaries. They're supposed to serve. You know, it says that they're supposed to protect and proudly serve the public. Now, I have had backgrounds in police training. When I was an ocean lifeguard, I had to go to the police academy and learn different things and about how to. I never had to worry about wearing a gun at the beach because I was there protecting lives from swimmers from drowning and preventing them before they're at the drowning mode. But I did do arrests where there was disturbance of the peace, when you're drunk and disorderly, and so forth. So I just am always amazed why the policemen want to shoot people 5 times. Now, I'm talking about 3 similar cases. I have one case in LA, Los Angeles, LA. It was a mother washing the dishes. It was a black mother. And the sheriff, LA sheriffs, came out along with a deputy, 2 of them, and the black person was shot 5 times and died in the face. Now, you know, he's fired, is being investigated. There's a civil suit, but he let his temper get a hold of him and he fired. And then there was a gentleman, a sheriff for Gainesville, Florida, that shot a man that came to the door, a young man in the Air Force. He had to be black, and shot him. But it's not all related to black people. I know that we've had a lot of people shot and killed or injured, and they're predominantly black. But also, there was a Mexican lady, a Hispanic lady, and she had mental problems. And she was shot by 2 policemen at the door because they couldn't quite understand it. And then we've had the ICE shootings. And so we've had people shot unnecessary. I don't know why they can't shoot them in the foot or the arm, why they have to shoot them in the chest. In all these instances, they did not have a weapon. But in the case of the woman, she had a car, and the guy felt intimidated by the car. There's so many different videos and so many different versions. They're working it through the court. But any state, he could have not shot her through the car window. The other guy was trying to help out a lady there, and he got caught up, and the police overexerted themselves. But both those individuals should never have been there in the first place. People like to come out and join crowds. There's a lot of looky-loos, a lot of people that do stupid things. And both those people have done, has disrupted demonstration before. So they're fully aware of what they're doing. They're just pushing the envelope. Now, I'm not defending the officer's actions. That has to be investigated. And to date, I've not heard the investigation. And so, anyway, I'm trying to tell you, don't open the door. You got to be really careful not opening that door. And Candy is from Tennessee. So glad to have you, Candy. You've been on before. I have Aaron and Michael from Tennessee. You're about the third or fourth person from Tennessee that I've talked to. And let me scroll up and see if I didn't miss anybody, because my phone, it works better on my computer, but my phone is okay. I have so much. It's way too much to type out. I love to be able to talk. Well, you can be a guest on my show. It's very easy. You just text me your name, first and last, where you're located, city and state, and if you're in the country, in the outside of the United States, your country, and then your email and your phone number. Those four things, and I will schedule your time on the show. I'll contact my show producer, Grace, and get you on the show. That's what I need you to do. And that'd be great. You can tell about your story. When I do get my computer operational, which should be in the next couple of days, I'm hoping. Because like everything in the world, sometimes things go wrong. Not a perfect world in. They're trying to track down what's delaying my order. I was supposed to have a confirmation email, but I didn't. So that tells me maybe it got lost in the woodwork. They show the work order at the store, but they don't show it international tracking. So anyway, that's life. Life is all ups and downs. We go through them. And when I get ready to do the show, I think about what I'm going to talk about. There's a lot of life skills, a lot about my background. I'm 76 years old. I'm a dinosaur, but I feel young, and I am still pretty good shape. And I have 61 years of life skills of working. What I mean by life skills is all kinds of things I can help you on, whether it's football or surfing or scouting or rugby or working at a restaurant or a civil engineer or a school teacher. I've done those all. I have those background. I'm so diverse. I had a job as a marine animal trainer of whales, pilot whales. Killer whales are not whales, truly. That's why they're just called that. They're orcas. They're dolphins. So Tertiups and the rest of the dolphins there. I've also worked as a marine biologist. My background in education, my early years was spent in engineering. And I later switched into inner space. I wanted to go to outer space. That's why I started engineering. But in engineering, you take basic skills that later helped me when I got to civil engineering. And I have many years working in roads and highways, heavy civil engineering. I worked as a senior estimator in sales, doing public work estimating in private. I've also been a project manager, senior project manager, managing jobs, and then also as a superintendent out in the field, and then also instructor, a senior instructor there. So I have an extensive background, and maybe there's something I can help you. Because with CPS, there's a lot of things that you run across, and I can help you. So Candy says she has too much to talk. She likes to talk. Nowadays, even our own neighbors do what? What does your own neighbors do? They retaliate. Okay. All right, Candy. Thank you for the smile. Um, and so I say is that just text me, Candy, and you can get on the show tomorrow morning. If you get me in time enough, I can get my show producer. Her name is Grace. I want to thank her. She does a lot. And again, I want to thank Mr. Davis. He's the attorney that will protect your child or get your child back, and he's one of the best. He has over 40 years of experience of fighting CPS. He is well trained and educated in dependency law, family law, juvenile law. Also, he has civil law and criminal law. He's a trial attorney, and he's won many a cases after your um, CP case is over. He's won millions of dollars against CPS. He meets the criteria of who you should hire. But you got to make sure the chemistry is right with whoever you interview. And since we're talking about attorney and I don't see anybody with any more questions, I will stop talking and answer your questions. But unless you put anything down, um, I will continue to talk about other topics that may or may not help you. I just hope I'm talking about what you guys want to hear. But, you know, the reason why he qualifies is he has the years and the heart. He's a good man. You can see him on Reels. He has his own live stream that he does. He does the shows on Reels or puts his live stream on Reels. Mine are on Reels. Reels is what Facebook puts up. I think TikTok has Reels. I think a lot of people have Reels. I think what's the other social media? Um, there used to be MySpace. Well, MySpace is still around, but then Facebook, and then there was Twitter, and then it became X, and then there is the ones before Twitch, um, Instagram. There we go. Facebook, then Instagram, then Twitch, and Threads. I think Threads is the newest. I try to keep up with them. But they do help get messages out for free. It's really amazing what the internet can do today. If you look back 20 years ago, there was no internet. I don't know, maybe it was 30 years. I just sometimes can't remember. I mean, when I was 18 in high school, there was no internet, there was no email, there was no phones, cell phones, cellular phones. There was these handheld phones that worked in the military, but they were nowhere portable enough. I mean, they were huge. And the computer, there was no portable computer. There was the big computer that used cards, big, huge cards. You type holes that punch through them, and they load the cards to run it. Then it got transferred over to reel tapes, then it became hard drives, and then everything started to come down in size. And now we have the latest creation is AI. See, I started with a slide rule before they had calculators. So I've seen a lot of the changes and so forth. And that's why I can be so valuable to help anybody with anything they can come across or think of. Right now, I'm trying to deal with a girl in Scotland, Heather Stewart, that just now told me today she's pregnant. So I'll email her back and tell her what you can do. They can't take her baby if she wasn't in take in the first place. It has to come after the fact. But then again, I'm not too familiar with the governments of other countries. But the same things I know in the United States will work in other countries because a lot of the countries model things after the US. People want to get endorsement from our president because they know that he can help them with what their quest is. So we're very lucky to be living in the United States. I know it seems bad right now because everybody's paying more money at the pumps, food is up high, and we got a civil action where we're trying to clean a big mess that's been going on for 40 some years. That's the problem. No one seemed to address it to this new administration. We had Doge created, that was headed up by Elon Musk. It's the Department of Government Efficiency. They have two numbers, and I need to go look those up. But they're area code 202, which is Washington, D.C. They will talk to you. Also, you can call Congress. Have the number to call Congress, and Congress will talk to you too. What I mean by that is you talk to the person that answers the phone at Congress, and she'll get you in touch with the senator or the representative you want to get a hold of. Keep in mind, every state has what? 2 senators. And then every state has several representatives depending on their population. So some states may have 50 representatives. Some states may only have 5. But those are the people that run this country. Now, everybody may think it's one man, the president. He's the leader. He instigates things, but there's still checks and balance. They were concerned about what he was doing, and so in Congress, they discussed it. Now, we need to get CPS to Congress again. The first time they got involved was into the 60s when they created CPS, the Child Protection System. And every state and every county has one, and every country and every city does. And it wasn't necessarily started. I don't know when the other countries did, but I'm pretty sure they modeled it after the USA. A lot of things were modeled after the USA. Why? We're a democracy, and we still have control. It may not look that way, but right now CPS is bad. 50% of CPS systems and police are corrupt. I'm sorry to say that. You have a 50-50 chance getting it right. And schools and medical places are about 25% corrupt. It's hard. It's hard living in a world when a small percentage is corrupt or larger percentage, depending on what it is. So I know what you're going through. I know your hurts and pains. I've been there. I too was a victim. I had 3 of my children kidnapped by the child protection system. They were abused and hurt in foster care. They're abused and hurt in CPS's custody. It's really, really sad. So I have firsthand knowledge. I've also talked to 2,600 people, and they'll reinforce what I have to say. I like someone to take over, ask me questions so we can get on, because a lot of stuff I'm repeating all my shows, the same thing. I like to have something different, you know. The last thing I have is a smiley face from Candy Diaz. A smiley face. She's from Tennessee, and she's talking about too much to talk about. And so she's our first person in the room that's doing any talking. Now, I had a lot of people this morning talk too, or this afternoon, not this morning, but this morning too. It's interesting who comes back. I have a lot of regular people that come back. So let me try to make sure that you can see me quite well. Okay. So well, we have a new member, Stephen Ania. Welcome, Stephen. He's a new member to YouTube. And Candy, as I say, had the last comment there. So I'll continue talking. I'm trying to cover a lot of things. Just today, I mean, there's things that I know about called the ICWA that was enacted in 1978. I have a lot of history background, and you probably what ICWA is. It's the Indian Child Welfare Act. And it finally gave Indian children and children's Indian families a chance to correct their problem. What had been happening for so long with the Indians that are in the United States and the First Nation that are in Canada and the indigenous people that are in Mexico and Central America and South America. And indigenous people all over. I've talked to Maoris in the island of New Zealand. Maoris are the Polynesian culture there. I've talked to several people in Australia, but not the Aborigines. I've talked to people in Hawaii. I've talked to people in Alaska, and about 6 provinces in Canada. Talked to England, Scotland, and Wales, and Africa, about 3 or 4 countries there. And Leica is from South Africa, and she would call in. I had people like a lady from Leeds in England would call in, and Indonesia, and Bangladesh, and India. I've talked to, and one country in the Middle East. And it's one of the countries that it isn't Iraq, Iran. It isn't Saudi Arabia. It's so funny. I can't think of the name right now. I have to look at a map and figure it out. But they haven't talked. But I've talked to, say, a lot of countries, and I've tried to help them. I mean, when a person says, "Help, I'm pregnant," what do I do or what do I say? Well, that's hard. And I keep referring back to attorney. Attorney is going to be the key to everything. Now, attorney is divided into 3 types. There's your paid attorney, then there's a court-appointed attorney, and then there's a pro bono attorney. Those are the 3 kinds of attorneys that are out there. There's advantages and disadvantages with all 3. The paid attorney is the best attorney to have. The advantage is they have extensive background in family law, juvenile law, and dependency law. And they've done numerous CPS cases. That is a paid attorney, and they will fight for you. But you got to make sure that you have good chemistry with them and they do their job. There are a lot of bad attorneys too. Some that have taken money and ran away, and it's sad because when people are helpless, they shouldn't take their money. It is really sad. Then there are the court-appointed attorneys. In our Constitution, it says that if we cannot afford an attorney would be presented to us to be used. Also, it's our constitutional right to have attorney present in all legal matters. Getting involved in CPS is a legal matter. If you're charged with neglect or abuse, you're entitled to have attorney every step of the way. That's why I tell people, don't ask the door. Don't talk to social workers. Don't talk to police. And don't let them in your home. And don't give up your children at urgent care of the hospital. Even if you're pregnant, don't give them up. There's so many things you need to know, and that's what an attorney does know. Now, I've learned a lot of this stuff from being involved myself and hearing from others, hearing from Mr. Davis and hearing from other people of what they're doing and what is right or wrong. But I reemphasize, again, the number for my office is 888-888-6582. When you call them, tell them that Bob Pace sent you. And when you ask to speak to Mr. Davis, tell them that Bob Pace sent you. You can also act about live streams, the scheduling of live streams. There's one on the East Coast in New York, KK Richardson, and called Maniac Mondays. And she's on at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, and it's 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Now I'm on 3 times a day, 8 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and 6 p.m. at night. That's Pacific Standard Time. And I am here to help you. And I know how hard of the situation you're going through. Thank you for the emoji. I love emojis. Thumbs up, smiling faces, hearts, stars. Any emoji you can send is really appreciated. So Candy was the last person that talked to me. I don't see any. Oh, wait. Candy says Tennessee. Smile. Oh, Family Voice Sunherd. Okay. It's a YouTube person. I don't know what their name is. So right now I'm going to call them Family. So Family says hello. I don't know what city or state you're from, but if you can tell me, Family, it'd be great. And what is your question, Family? What is your question? I'd like to hear. I'd like to hear what your question is. So that was nice. Oh, Happy Feet. Oh, I haven't talked to you in ages. Not since I stopped in the latter part of December. Welcome, Happy Feet. Welcome, Happy Feet. I'm so glad to see you. I'm so glad to see you, Happy Feet. Now, here comes the memory. I believe Happy Feet is from somewhere in the Bakersfield area. Am I saying that right, Happy Feet? I think she and her husband are part of an Indian tribe. and you have in uh, uh, um, a case that you're trying to have the Indian tribe take over based on the act, the Indian Welfare Act, ICWA of 1978. Am I right, Happy Feet? Am I right? Or are you down from San Diego? There's so many people. As I say, 2,600 is a lot of people, Happy Feet. Could you tell me your. Okay, thank you so much. How are you? Gilbert of Arizona. My husband is a chocolate tribe. Oh, you're Happy Feet from Gilbert, Arizona. I am so. Wow, I was really messing it up. Yes, Gilbert, Arizona. I don't know how close that is to Prescott, Arizona, but Prescott, Arizona was a horrible thing to happen there. And I'm not talking about the movie Billy Jack that was made there. I'm talking about the day that the social workers, who were called the Pink Ladies, decided to get t shirts done and wear pink t shirts and stencil on the front. They said that they are professional child kidnappers. And on the back, they said, "Parents, do you know where your children are?" That is a terrible, terrible feeling to be seeing these social workers parade in all the big stores. I mean, all the big stores: Walmart, Kmart, Best Buys, Sam's Club, Target, Sears. I don't think Sears is around anymore, but Pace May Company, which I think is folded, and J.C. Penney's, I think, is folded. And anyway, they prayed around and sent a wrong message. They were caught, and the city ended up firing them. All 8 of the social workers that were done were fired, along with the director of DCS, Department of Children's Services, in Prescott, Arizona. Now, Prescott, Arizona is the home of the Billy Jack movies, and it's home of a lot of Indian tribes. And Happy Feet is from Arizona, and her husband, I think, is the one that has the Indian connection. And since we have an Indian in here, or we're talking about Indians, anybody that has an Indian background and that is registered with a federal recognized tribe, there's about 584 of them. Last time I checked, they can have their children turned over to the Indian tribe to help with their CPS matter. Right now, when a child, or used to old days up until that time, parents lose their children forever. And a lot of the end of the Indian era, and it's sad. I've heard a number, I don't know how true it is. There's supposedly only 50,000 Indians left in the United States. I thought there was 100,000, but I was listening to some Indian stories, and I remember the movement of '69 and at the AIM movement with Russell Means. I remember the Indian battles. There's the one back in 1875, Wounded Knee twice. 1973 was another Wounded Knee, or February 27th was the anniversary. And you probably said, why do you know so much about Indians? Because somewhere in the back of my line, I have a great great grandmother who's a full Lakota Sioux. Now, my tribe was the most fierce tribe ever in the United States. There are 5 tribes. I don't know if you know this or not. The Mohawk is number 5. The Cheyenne is number 4. And number 3 was the Apache, and number 2 was the Comanche, or maybe reversed. And then, of course, the Lakota Sioux. Now, as I told you, I have a lot of information. I can talk about a lot of subjects, but I am talking about CPS because if you're American Indian ancestry, and it's usually about 25%, I have 25% blood in me of Lakota Sioux. My great great grandmother, that's from the Rosebud Reservation, which is near the Black Hills. See, the Black Hills belong to Lakota Sioux. That's where Mount Rushmore is and the president's faces are. There's an uprising there. There's been many uprisings. That's where Custer found gold and took away the Black Hills. The Indians always broken treaties, but I still can't believe there's only 50. There's an Indian powwow coming up at Long Beach State next weekend. It's the 53rd powwow there. So there are powwows around the world. I mean, around the around the country. And I've been to the Rosebud Reservation, one of the poorest places That's right down from Standing Rock, which is the home of the Ogallala Sioux. And then we have to the west another Indian reservation. See, they're all broken down. And I'm trying to think of it. There is the Rosebud Reservation and the Pinewood or Pinewood. There's another reservation there. There's three of them near there in South Dakota. Anyway, if you're a Native American Indian with 25%, your children should be placed in the hand of the tribe. They take care of their own. You know, all the Indian reservations is federal property, is Indian land. Federal property has given that land to the American Indians. They can police their land, they can enforce their rights, they have their government and so forth. A lot of you may not know that, but there's tons of reservations. And there's 584 federal recognized Indian tribes. So because I told you the five fierce ones, there may not be the most peaceful ones. There may be that. But look it up. Look it up. Again, I don't know how much is true anymore on Google Chrome or GPT. I assume it's true. There's also that encyclopedia wiki that tries to generate things. I don't know. Those are easy things to look at. The old days, we had Britannica and other encyclopedias. I didn't have my encyclopedia for my grandmother's in the 30s. And I used to look up things and cross-reference things. But now we have the internet and it's so easy to do things. Now, I've had a steady people here. Oh, text to where? My phone number. It's right there in the center of the page. It says 626-698-0990. That is my direct line, and that's where I'll see your text message. That's also the number you will call in if you want to talk live on the show. As soon as I get my computer operational, you can call in on that number. I also have an email. And as I say, Heather Stewart from Scotland sent me an email. I'm Bob P. at vincentwdavis.com. And again, the office number is 888-888-852. And I hope you call those numbers or emails there because I want to help you. And Vincent Davis wants to help you. And when you call into his office, make sure you introduce yourself and say that Bob Pace sent you. And when you talk to Mr. Davis, tell him that Bob Pace sent you. And he can talk to you about if you want to hire him or what he can do for you. Now, he works out of Arcadia in LA County, but he'll go to any state, anywhere in the US. It's a little bit more expensive. And right now, approximately LA County, he has a $5,000 retainer. And he's $550 an hour. Now, the ranges are different with lawyers. I've heard anywhere from $200 to $1,000 an hour for attorney and CPS. I've heard about a retainer from $2,500 to $10,000. So he's middle of the range. You probably said, "Oh, I don't even have that kind of money." I understand that. Not to worry. There's something called legal insurance that most people forget about. Everybody should take out legal insurance. You take out household insurance because it's required by the lender. You take out car insurance because it's required if you drive on the public roads. But you also have a pet you love and you like to take out insurance for the pet. Why not take insurance for legal so that someone can help you with your DUI? Maybe you get caught stealing or whatever the case may be. That insurance will cover that lawyer that help you with the legal matter. You just got to look at the fine print. You got to check it all out. Another way to finance for a CPS lawyer is to have a loan on your home, like take out a second, or maybe you have money put away. In my case, I did a quick sell of my home because I had a predatory loan. It was terrible. And a predatory loan is where they qualify you by doubling your income or changing income. The candidate for predatory loans was Countrywide. They're out of business. That's when the banks failed. Bank of America took them over, and I sued Bank of America and won a lawsuit against Bank of America. I had to hire an attorney, Mr. Davis's office. And I didn't win very much, but I won because I had a predatory loan. And somehow I'm good. I hired another attorney that I was terminated unlawfully. I was terminated unlawfully, and I just got told I won the case. Not much money, but I won the case. They settled, which I don't know if it's a win or not. But I'm one of these people that put my head down. I did. And the way it worked with that one was they get 50% of what I get. And they're very happy with it, and they did a good job. But I'm here to promote Vincent Davis. He's helped me on 2 matters. Actually, he's helped me on 3 matters. He's helped me with CPS. He's helped me with my predatory loan, and he helped me with eviction. So he's helped me on 3 matters. Yes, I've spent a lot of money with those 3 matters. But it's worth every cent because he's one of the greatest attorneys around. Now, he has other attorneys that do other matters. He didn't personally help me with eviction or the predatory loan. There's 2 different people doing that. But he has a huge law firm with many lawyers doing a lot of things. He likes to help. I cannot strongly recommend that you go and talk to him at least. Talk to him. It doesn't hurt to talk because the key to success to hang on to your children or to get your children back is that somebody represents you. Now, I told you there's 3 types of attorneys. I told you that there is, I see a question mark from Diaz. Yes, you can get insurance called legal insurance. A lot of people don't think about it. Now, I've gotten quotes for $100 a month, $1,200 a year premium, and there's certain deductibles, but it does help you with your legal matters. If you have to come up with a $5,000 retainer, it should cover it. They may ask you for a $100 deductible or whatever it is because you want to keep your rates down. But they have insurances for everything to cover everything. You know, besides your home having insurance, the lender requires you to have, like usually it's fire and wind. You also may have flood, which is additional rider. You may have earthquake, which is additional rider. But you can also get what's called household insurance of your appliances. Like if the heater goes out, there is a premium for that. It's about $500 a year divided into 12 payments, and you have to pay a $50 service call. So if your air conditioner costs $3,000, they're going to pay all but the $50 service call. So that's pretty good to pay $500. I've gone through insurance. I've gone through dishwashers and wash machines and air conditioners in my home. I had once a 7-digit home, beautiful home, big home, 2 stories, 4 bedrooms. I had my children living in there. And I have 6 children, and 3 of them were taken by CPS, wrongly taken. I was wrongly accused. I was blindsided by my family members that called in every week. Not my immediate family, but my wife's family. Her father, her mother, her 3 sisters, and her brother called in once a week and made allegations that weren't true. And I guess they got too mad coming in and out, so they got a hold of a police detective, and he followed me and ordered me to come home. And like a fool, I didn't have an attorney. I didn't think about calling an attorney. And I opened my house. It was all can of worms. My house is fine, by the way. When they did come out to search my house for lack of food, I showed them a full refrigerator. When they said the utilities were turned off, I showed the electric meter running. I showed the water on. I opened the faucet. I showed them the gas. I showed the heater working, the air conditioner working. I showed that the pool pump worked and the swimming pool worked. I showed that the area was enclosed and locked, that a child could not get into the pool without adult supervision. I had a front gate lock so people couldn't come in. I had a dog run to securely my Siberian Huskies. And I lived about a mile from the beach, a beautiful home, my forever home. But I had to quick sell it in 2017. I was able to hang on to the home for almost 7 years. I lost my job through no fault of my own in 2010. And that wasn't the employer that I sued. It was my latest employer that I went back to work as a construction inspector. And I had to sue them because of wrongful termination. And they made up so many, they're just as bad as CPS. Now, I wanted to sue CPS, so you can sue CPS, but I don't have the money anymore for a retainer. I know that we had a gentleman that used Mr. Davis recently. He was part of my show. His name is David Hilago. And oh, good, Candy Diaz. Let me tell you who you can call. Call Progressive Insurance. There's a couple of people, State Farm. You just type in legal insurance. Don't go to Legal Zoom. Legal Zoom is a shortcut insurance. They'll help you with wills and simple papers to file and stuff there. I'm talking about a full-blown lawyer that cover you if you get a DUI, if you get involved in CPS, if you get involved in a lawsuit. You know, if somebody gets hurt on their property, they can sue you. It's really, and that's where my life skills come in. I didn't know all this at 18. But at 76, I know I know a lot. I know a lot. I know a lot at my age. And I can help you. I can help you. And I've worked so many different jobs. And so it can there. So look into it, Candy. Don't give up. Don't give up. Now, it must be later than I think it is. No. Oh, I started a couple minutes late because I had trouble finding the link. Anyway, we've had Candy participate, but that's all that's talked to me of Candy from Tennessee. Oh, we had Happy Feet from Arizona. I'm so glad with the ICWA, the Indian thing. I'm so glad to see Happy Feet. I'm so glad. She has a new name called Family Voice Sunherb, but her name is Happy Feet. And so Happy Feet, if you have more questions, it'd be nice to hear from you. And the Maricopa County refused to turn over your tribe. Now, I don't know all the details. I want to help you, Happy Feet. But if your tribe, the Choctaw, is federally recognized and you're registered as Native American Indians to the Choctaw tribe, your husband is, your children will, if they're 25% of Indian blood. Now, I don't know, certain tribes may mean you have to have 50% or 30%. I'm just using the average. If you have a quarter of Indian blood, then you can claim the Indian heritage. Now, supposedly of true blood Indians, not part Indians, there's only 50,000 people left. Now, I heard there's 100,000. I heard that the Lakota Sioux language is dying out. It is sad because in time, all the Indian will eventually assimilate into the culture. That's what happens when people come here. We had our Europeans that came over here, that came after the Vikings were here. The Vikings were the next people that come to North America. Then came the Europeans, whether from England or France or Spain or Belgium or where they came. So we've had a lot of immigration. But everybody came here. In fact, in the potato famine, the Irish, when they came, everybody was stuck at a place called Ellis Island in New York. That's where people from Europe came in. They stay on the island. They're instructed in government law to learn about the three branches of government, the legislative, Congress, and the executive, which is the president. Congress is your two-party system. We have a two-party system. We're supposed to be democratic, but right now they're still worried about what our current president did 10 years ago. They still want to impeach him. It's like every step of the way. I've never seen a guy that was unanimously elected as a popular vote and as a delegate. There's two kinds of ways you can check the popularity of somebody. Every senator has one vote. There's two senators for every state. But then the House of Representatives, will vary from 50 to maybe 100 votes there. Well, how it works, there's something called electoral, I think it's called Electoral Congress. So they won the majority of the senators, the majority of the representatives, and the popularity, the people that vote, pick the current leader. And they want to see changes made. And he is raising a lot of dust and storm. I mean, he started off with the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, and he put Elon Musk who is a very wealthy young man trying to do a lot of great things with Twitter. He just bought Twitter and it's X now. He has StarX, which is a space development company where he's making reusable booster rockets. He wants to go to moon, wants to go to Mars. He has a satellite that has top-notch technology that he's letting the Ukrainians do. There's so much that Elon Musk is helping. And so anyway, this department was investigating to save us money. You see, their goal is to save $1 trillion in a year. Now, it's been a year. I think they're in the billions, but I don't think they're in the trillions. And Musk could only stay for 6 months because that was the requirement. He did it as a volunteer, but he's only allowed to hold a position for 6 months. A lot of people thought he was fired. No, it's like a lot of people think it's a war going on right now. What we have right now is a cleanup of a very erratic country that's causing problems in the United States. Our current president doesn't want drugs in our country. He doesn't want terrorists. In order to do so, he has to clean up the world. That's why the Venezuela leader was taken, because too heavy drugs were coming into the United States. That's why the borders were closed. We were having 1 million people a year allowed free entry, and they were killing people and their children. And it's sad because, in the caught up of all this, innocent people are being hurt or killed or taken away. And I know it's hard. And right now, we have a government agency that's being investigated, CPS. We need to go to Congress as a group here to make changes. We had a lady named Nancy Schaefer from Georgia, a senator, who was murdered at about my age, fighting CPS. She wanted to do a radical change. She wanted to change the whole CPS system completely. I don't want to change it. I want to have a board of directors or supervisors. I want check and balance. Every month they have to report how their money was spent. There has to be a financial report. Right now, there's nothing. If the state wants money, they just call up the federal government, and $1 billion comes to the state. Now, if a county wants money, $1 million comes to the county. They get $20,000 per child per month. I know that for my fact because my children are in Orange County. I know these facts. $60,000 for 3 children is wrong, and they couldn't even take care of them. They had a shelter that was bad. They're put in a group home that was bad. They're put in several. And it was like you felt like you're in a Gestapo organization during World War II. CPS can be very bad, and I hear it all the time. Now, slowly the room has been disappearing, so I'm leaving a lot of you, but I want to thank you all. I was hoping that there'd be some more comments. Someone said 3 today. What do you mean 3 today? Happy Feet. Happy Feet, who is family voices, says 3 today. What do you mean by 3 today? I have to read up above there. Oh, here she says, they refuse to turn her children to the tribe. Our youngest daughter ended up with my parents. Well, that's better. I'm glad they're not in CPS. Today is her birthday. She's 3 years old. Well, happy birthday to your daughter. Happy birthday. And you get to see her, and she'll be 4 today. Oh, she was 3 and you have not seen her. I feel for you. But Happy Feet, you're welcome. Please come back. I'm on 3 times a day, at 8 in the morning, at 1 p.m. in the afternoon, and 6 p.m. at night. And I'm on, as I say, 3 times. I'll help you. But I got to end my live stream. Let me see who else we have in here. Candy from Tennessee says, text to where? Well, where is that number? 626-698-0990. And Happy Birthday says, our oldest children is over 19, so they should be returned because they only keep them at 18. And you had your first grandbaby. Well, congratulations, Happy Feet. And Candy from Tennessee says, I don't see it. I couldn't have a pen, a message. Okay, it's supposed to be shown. I have thing that says comments. It says to be a guest on my show, you need to text or email me your first and last name, your city and state or country, and your phone number and email. Then it says Bob Pace phone number 626-698-0990 and email Bob P at vincentwdavis.com. I know people see it because I've had people come back and tell me they saw it. So look on the bottom of the screen. Look on the bottom of the screen. Candy says, would it be a lot of money to come here and make payments? Well, here's the thing is, to hire an attorney, he's going to have a higher retainer because he has ground transportation. Now, Candy, you're in Tennessee, I think. I think that's who I'm talking to is Candy, hopefully. Yeah. Candy, you're in Tennessee. And he has the airfare to get there, the ground transportation to get to and from the courts and to the hotel. He has to stay at a hotel, so he's got accommodations. Then he's got to eat. When you're away from home, it's very hard to make food and live like you normally do. So he's got to eat. Eating out is expensive. I mean, you're lucky if you can find a meal for less than $10 eating out. I mean, fast foods are slowly over $10 anyway. And there's needs for copies of papers or whatever he does. That's small chump change. But then there's the license to practice the law there, the dependency law and family law and child law. He doesn't get a license for every state because it's too expensive and he's not in every state. So call the office, 888-888-8598-8582. Is it 92? Yeah. It's scrolling along the bottom. I have a thing that scrolls along the bottom. But anyway, there's going to be a short video after I turn off. Make sure you listen to it. God bless you all and take care. And I'll see you tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Good night.
A vivid picture is encrypted in your mind as the critics get in line like they're witnessing a crime. But then you notice there's a shiver in your spine from the feelings of discontentment and bitterness combined. Heartbroken when you listen to the judges, another kid's innocence corrupted. And if you go against it, it's destructive. Consider this predicament the toughest, but we believe in a system fit for justice. Child Protective Services only pretends to save it. The one solution for this is worthy of instant praises. 30 years of experience with relentless cases. Allow me to introduce them. This is Vincent Davis, defending you when they don't think a mother fits the role. Is it juvenile dependency or government control? Observe the pain in their eyes. It's time for us to realize we are the last